When you think of iconic Zelda staples, there's a few things that will probably come to mind, whether it's the Master Sword or Link's Peter Pan costume. These things show up in nearly every game in the series because they're instantly recognizable. But there's another staple in the series that we're all familiar with. You read the title, you know where I'm going with this. Pots! Break the pots, pick up the pots, throw the pots, smash all the pots! Today I've decided to find out how fast you can smash a pot in every main Zelda game. Timing from pressing A on the file select screen, all the way until the pot is registered as broken. To keep it simple, every game will be played on the original version and no glitches will be performed. If you're wondering why no glitches, it's because learning glitches for upwards of 19 separate games for the express purpose of smashing pots as quickly as possible just isn't my idea of a great time. Also, all of these pot runs are performed as quickly as I can, but I suck at a few of these games, so by no means will this be the fastest theoretical pot smashing time. All that being said, if you somehow know the glitch world record history of pot percent for all 19 Zelda games on this list, is it 19? I'm pretty sure it's 19. Feel free to let me know all there is to know about it. Without further ado, let's get into the games with Zelda 1. Gotcha. Zelda 1 and 2 actually don't have any pots to smash at all. This is probably also why the Zelda cartoon basically doesn't have any pot smashing of any kind, because that would be a low-hanging fruit they would go for. Although, since I did start thinking about it, I actually went ahead to check, and the Zelda cartoon smashes a pot in episode 2. Now, removing the intro and ending sequences for the Super Mario Bros. Super Show and the Zelda cartoon itself, the entirety of episode 1 takes 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Extending that same courtesy to episode 2, this makes the point where the evil jar, which counts as a pot, gets smashed at 13 minutes and 21 seconds into the episode. So, the first pot is smashed in the cartoon at 27 minutes and 43 seconds in. Now, to the actual games, in no particular order. Starting with A Link to the Past, it's the first game in the series featuring smashable pots, so it makes sense to start here. After naming our character and loading up our freshly made save, we find our hero talked to in his sleep by Zelda. But more importantly, target acquired, pots are right here. As soon as we wake up, Uncle walks out to get the milk and tells us to stop smashing pots. Challenge accepted, so we get out of bed and immediately smash the pot. Time, 32 seconds. Moving on to Ocarina of Time, in what is undoubtedly going to be a theme for this series, we once again join our hero just waking up. You'll have to forgive me for skipping past the opening a little bit more each time, since this is going to be happening a lot. Now, when Link makes it outside, Sario will come say hi to Link, but Link isn't having any of that, so he goes back inside to smash a pot. Time, 3 minutes and 53 seconds. The interesting thing with Ocarina of Time is that when we went outside, there clearly was no pot, but then when we came back inside, the pot was there. This is because of a little feature called cutscenes. The actor set loaded during this initial cutscene is different from the default set when the game loads the room normally, resulting in this very odd thing where, to smash a pot as quickly as possible, we have to walk outside and then go back inside to get the quickest smashable pot in Ocarina of Time. Let's move on to its direct sequel, Majora's Mask. If you thought the Ocarina of Time opening scenes were long, you haven't replayed Majora's Mask often enough. Although Majora's Mask lets you control Link a bit here and there, this opening takes a pretty long time. Jump the gaps, get Dekut, fly over the gap, talk to the happy mask salesman, and finally we make our way to Clock Town. From here, it's a matter of finding the quickest spot to smash. Since most buildings are closed at 6 AM, this leaves us with only one viable option really. So run towards West Clocktown into the trading post, climb up the little wooden table to find our quickest smashable pot and simply just smash it. Time, 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Minish Cap. After going through yet another intro Link entirely slept through, we make our way downstairs and... Are the pots in the room with us right now? Yes they are. Unfortunately, we have to talk to our father figure about how we're going to go out with Zelda because we're childhood friends and now I need to deliver a sword while I'm at it, but I really just want to smash that pot, man.
Let me smash, please.
There's really not much to say about this one. I smashed the pot at 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Moving on to Link's Awakening. Link's Awakening is one of 3 Game Boy games we have to tackle for this challenge, and while, like Link to the Past before it, we start sleeping in a house with pots, unfortunately this time it won't be so simple, because if we try and grab the pot, it's too heavy. I guess it is a pot as large as Link himself. We'll need to get the power bracelet from the second dungeon. Oh boy. Alright, here we go. Step 1, talk to Terran. He gives me the shield, so now we gotta head out to the beach to get our transparent sword. This probably isn't nearly as noticeable on the actual Game Boy screen, but when backlit, let's just say this always bothered the heck out of me to an unreasonable degree. Step 2, go through the forest, get some magic powder from a witch to turn Raccoon Terran back to normal. We can then find the tail key, which lets us enter the first dungeon, so I get over there, get the Roc's Feather, which allows me to jump, and beat the boss, which allows us entry to the next dungeon, right? Not quite. When we get back to town, it turns out there was a dog napping by moblins, and that dog just so happens to be instrumental in our entering of the second dungeon. A surprising little convenience, not gonna lie. So back into the forest, jump over the little gap, enter this cave, kill the moblins, and steal the stolen dog for yourself. Now instead of bringing her back, we feed her some aquatic plants and get right to the dungeon. In the second dungeon, beat up the mini-boss and get into this very spooky ghost room, which finally gives us the power bracelets and allows us to shatter these pots at 19 minutes and 43 seconds in. That was a long time just to go smash a pot. Break some extra just to be safe. Next up, we get back to 3D games with Wind Waker. Definitely missing the quick startup of Link's Awakening right now because, oh boy, this intro takes way too long. I'm not entirely sure why I decided the best course of action would be to stick to original versions. On the Wii U version, I would have been able to skip. Anyway, after the legend concludes, Errol wakes Link up so that he can go visit his grandma for a present, but Link has other plans. Now, there's a few pots here and there on the island, but we're targeting specifically the ones close to Link's house. I would have liked to smash the pot on the lady's head, but as she's walking away, the speed from rolling would have been missing. And with her on the slope, we'd need to actually walk to her other side, so instead I go for the pots on the ground and try to hit her pot with them as well. Unfortunately, I missed, and this was the 4th attempt, so I'm just going to write down the time of the pot shattering at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. I do still break her pot out of frustration though, I am a mad Hylian. Next up, Twilight Princess. 3D Zelda intro. Yeah. Alright, so pots aren't super popular in Ordon Village actually. There are no pots outside, and there's barely any pots inside too. Link doesn't own a singular pot himself, so we'll have to go outside. We're not really allowed to go anywhere, so go pick up Epona, ignore Ilia, go into Ordon the first time. All the houses are locked, so we can't enter any of them. Instead, gotta herd some goats. Peak Zelda gameplay. Finally, when we get home, another day starts. This time, instead of ignoring Ilia, we ignore the kids, run straight to their house, and finally smash their one pot at 7 minutes and 48 seconds in. Oracle of Ages. Used to be that I could consider these games so similar for the sake of these videos that I could group them together, but the Oracle games are pretty different when it comes to smashing a pot. After meeting Nehru, our Oracle of the Day, we watch her get kidnapped. After that, I need to walk around a little bit to meet the Mako tree. Mid-conversation, which I am definitely reading, yep, totally. The tree disappears because of time travel shenanigans, which I'm sure that's how time travel works. After following Varan, that's what the evil lady possessing Nehru is called, forgot to mention, into the past through the convenient portal she left behind, we run over to the tower to grab the most important item for the next 2 minutes, the shovel. Use it to clear out the path to the Mako Path cave, saving the Mako tree, who then quickly exclaims she's going to marry Link when she grows up, which, I mean, that's just usually what happens to Link, isn't it? He's a good-looking guy. Go over to the graveyard using the seeds we got from the Mako tree to finally make it into the first dungeon. In the first dungeon, I solve a few of the puzzles until I realize I don't think I've seen a single pot yet in this game. And I start to get worried, but as if right on cue, there's one, so I'm safe. After killing the mini-boss, I find out I'm missing one more key, so I find just one more key, find the power bracelets, and finally smash that pot after a long 23 minutes and 25 seconds. And although I just said the Oracle games are very different when it comes to smashing a pot, the first part is still very similar. So after meeting Din, our Oracle of the Day, we watch her get kidnapped. After that, I need to go grab the sword from the Hero's Cave to prove my courage to this fence over here, which lets me meet the Mako tree, who in this version is more of a wise old man, not unlike the Deku tree. He gives me the key to the first dungeon, which, alright, I need a moment to talk about this. I really want to love these games, I really do. but what's frustrating about them is not just the low-hanging fruit that is the constant switching due to no face buttons, but also the fact that I can't seem to strike towards Link's lower right. I constantly forget this is a problem because, I mean, it feels like it shouldn't be, and it makes things so much more annoying than it needs to be. Rant over. After beating the mid-boss, I make it to the dungeon item, which in this game is the Ember Seeds. With the Ember Seeds in hand, I can make it through to the first boss, Aquamentus. Hey, he was in the first game. This game has a lot of little references to Zelda 1. Highly recommend looking out for them if you play it. After finishing the dungeon, we have to follow the Subrosion with the ribbon to Subrosia, which takes another while. While here, play a bit of game to get the boomerang, then make her way into the Temple of Seasons to get to the rod. With Winter and her rod, we can turn the season into winter and gain access to our second dungeon of Oracle of Seasons. Without too much fanfare, going through the dungeon eventually nets us the power bracelet, and we finally smash a pot at a very late 33 minutes and 37 seconds in. And then, in the spirit of how poorly I've been playing Oracle of Seasons, I die afterwards. Skyward Sword. It's been a while since I played the original version of Skyward Sword. I always attribute this game with being a long opening, kind of the same as Twilight Princess, and I mean it's true, but you do get control of Link pretty decently quickly, and after waking up I find out there's a few pots conveniently placed outside of Link's room in the Knight Academy, so I get a pot smash in only 3 minutes and 39 seconds in. I dug out my Wii Motion Plus for this before realizing that the Wiimote I currently use has Wii Motion Plus included. That felt stupid. I don't really know why I'm telling you this. 4 Swords Adventures. I can never remember if this game is 4 Swords Adventures, 4 Swords Adventure, 4 Sword Adventures. Forget it, it's right there in the title screen. For this game, I'm changing the rule just a little bit and will start upon pressing start on the title screen, because for this game, I actually get to use a side mode to reach my goal. See, instead of going into Hyrulean Adventure mode, which has a long intro, I instead figured that the Shadow Battle mode must have a pot. With 4 links loaded in, I pick the Hyrule Castle map and beeline Green Link's way to the pot to quickly smash it in a mere 21 seconds. Lucky! Then the other 4 Swords game, with timing starting at file select, I lose a little bit of time at the connection screen because it doesn't feel like connecting properly, fancy that. After having to redo the entire thing a bunch of times, I eventually just decide to scout out the intro level for some guaranteed pots. Seems the second portal has them, so I have Green Link smash one at a time of 1 minute and 15 seconds after various restarts. Something I really like about this game is just how much they play around with the fact that you can torment each other really hard for no real reason. You can throw a pot over someone's head and their screen will just go entirely pitch black. It's great. I need more multiplayer Zelda shenanigans in my life, to be honest. And then, rounding out the Zelda multiplayer trilogy, Triforce Heroes. I can never tell which one people consider the black sheep of the series more. This one or Zelda 2? If you want to weigh in on this, please leave a comment about it. I'm very interested in what you think. I know my opinions will forever be invalid when I admit to this, but I personally really like this game for what it is. It's certainly a bit of a budget title, but I had good fun with it, and even 100%ed it back in the day. Anyway, that's not really important for today. It's just that I can only say the intro happens in so many ways, you know? But yeah, the intro happens. We get told to go into the boutique first thing, but if you know where to go, this area has spots to smash right here. Swim across the water, swing your sword, smash the pots in a very quick 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And since this is a new save, figure out which voice the game gave you. Mine was Wind Waker this time around. Link Between Worlds. I love this game. The intro to this one always makes me feel like replaying it. It's not like the intro itself is that good or anything. I just really like this game's style. Like Link to the Past before it, you basically wake up after a good amount of dialogue skipping and smash the pot right in your house, smashed at 1 minute and 14 seconds. Breath of the Wild. After waking up, Link immediately runs outside. After fighting the urge to jump straight down, cause that's a different category, I dash right to the Temple of Time, which everyone knows is obviously where pots live. There's a red Bacallin in the way, but I ignore him and smash the pot with my stick at 5 minutes and 48 seconds in. I kind of expected this one to take a while, but surprisingly, the pots in the Temple of Time make this one go by really quickly. It's actually slightly faster than Wind Waker. Speaking of faster than Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass is not. After a really long intro that establishes that this is a sequel to Wind Waker, and virtually nothing else, Ciela, the new fairy who uses Navi soundbites and looks exactly like her in official artwork, forces Link to go to Osh's house, which is fine, because this is also where smashable pots live. Without meeting the guy, we immediately destroy his pottery to hit a time of 7 minutes and 17 seconds. That intro was really long, so it's a good thing the next game, Spirit Tracks, improves on that quite a bit. This game always confuses me a little bit though, cause like, this is a new Hyrule and it's not the same Link, but this is the same Nico, right? If so, doesn't that make this guy the literal only person to meet 2 Links in his lifetime? I'm surprised that doesn't mess this guy up in some way. Maybe that's why he's Link's roommate. Anyway, after he gives us the entire intro, we leave the whole quest to Alfonso because we have to smash a pot, which is conveniently located in the same room we start out in. Didn't even have to go outside for this one. Smashed at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Oh, Tears of the Kingdom. In what is probably the single slowest Zelda intro, like, I know there's some bad slapping going on over here, but this is by all means just a really, really long, somewhat interactive cutscene. Link finally wakes up on the tutorial Sky Island, nearly 7 minutes in. That is with skipping every cutscene we can skip. After this, we still need to go through the long segment leading up to the epic title drop, which is still kinda epic, I won't lie, until we finally make it to the real gameplay part of the game about 10 minutes in. After this, I follow the obvious path to finally see a pot and smash it with my Decade Master Sword. 11 minutes and 39 seconds in. With this time, it's officially the slowest 3D Zelda game to smash a pot in. But thanks to the Game Boy games insisting on having you collect a power bracelet in a dungeon first, it's not the slowest of all of them. Finally, we reach our latest Zelda game of the bunch, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. The third game in which you play as Zelda, except we pretend the other 2 don't exist. And for the sake of this video, no, they don't exist because I don't want to play them. First, we play the first half of the intro as Link at the end of his quest, which, although short, is a segment I kind of adore. After we finish that about 3 minutes in, we take control of Zelda, who runs out of the ruin she was held captive in, and is then found by the guards and brought back to the castle town, only for her to ignore everything and enter the first house she sees and smash her citizens' pottery 7 minutes and 15 seconds in. Heroes never change, whether they're Link, Zelda, or any of the other playable characters. And that's a pot smashed in every main Zelda game. The rankings are as follows, with Four Swords Adventures being in a blisteringly fast first place, thanks to a little bit of a cheat, and Oracle of Seasons being by far the slowest, even slower than the Zelda cartoon. Though, you could shave off a fair bit of time if you were to play a linked game of ages. Now, if you'll indulge me in some thoughts I had about this process. Obviously, the Game Boy games were always going to be last on the list, seeing as how you need to get into at least one dungeon for all of them to pick up a pot, which isn't a necessity for every other one. Aside from that though, for a while there it looked like there was a pretty clear trend. 2D games are faster to get this pot smashing action than the 3D games. That is, right up until I started recording on Phantom Hourglass, which was barely faster than Twilight Princess, even though in Twilight Princess, I had to sit through an intro, Ilia washing my appropriately named horse, goat herding, going back home, accidentally saving, which wasted a little bit of time, then going into the correct house and breaking the pot there. Whereas in Phantom Hourglass, I walked to the house and broke a pot. And of course, Echoes of Wisdom, though that one felt a bit more justified, having basically a double intro where it kind of feels like you're playing the end of a Zelda game, before suddenly being thrust into a new one, which again is a segment I kind of adore. Overall though, doing this for every game was an absolute nightmare since I had to watch the intro for each game just to find the closest spot, then redo the intro at least one more time to actually rush to the pot. This isn't all that bad for one game, but when you do that for almost 20 of them, you'll very quickly see where this becomes a tedious process real fast, and I was trying to use this video as a break from all the challenges I've been doing lately. But I invite you to do it anyway. Beat these times, tell me about it. Good luck.